Hi there and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to share a recipe for a gluten-free raspberry, lemon and yoghurt tea loaf. This is something I've only actually made once, and I popped the recipe over on my blog the other week, so I will of course put a link below for the full recipe to take you over there. It's such a nice cake. It's one that I'd spotted in the Saturday Telegraph magazine. Unfortunately, when I cut it out, I didn't cut out the full article, so I can't credit the person that gave this recipe. So I do apologise for whoever's out there who gave this great recipe, because it really is super. I cut out loads of recipes from magazines, papers, anything that catches my eye. Most of the time they're not gluten-free, but you can generally tell that if it's just a case of gluten-free flour, or just an ordinary flour, switch it to gluten-free flour, most of the time it'll work really, really well. And what I'd say is just give it a go. If you fancy something, switch the ingredients for gluten-free and give it a go. Something like a cake, the worst thing that can happen is you just have to serve it up with some custard instead. But as I say, this is a great recipe, and it's one that I now keep in my box of all cutouts that I have from, say, papers, magazines, and anything like sort of free magazines that you can get. Like I pick up the Waitrose mag, that's free. You've got a My Waitrose card, which doesn't cost anything to have, but you can get one of these magazines free. They do a new one every month. There's some fabulous recipes in here, and a lot of supermarkets have their own magazines that are free, and they have great recipes in. And say, even when they're not gluten-free, most of the time will adapt. Things like bread and things like that may be a bit more tricky, but cakes certainly do tend to always work. But if you're ever unsure and you wanted to run something by me, do check, drop me a message, and if I can help you, I certainly will. So let me get on and just share with you the recipe now today. Okay, so into the bowl I'm going to put some butter and some sugar. Now I've left this butter out to soften, just so it creams together well with the sugar, and that's just cubed unsalted butter. So the full recipe will be over on my blog, and then I'm just going to add caster sugar to that. Okay, and then I'm just going to whisk this now until it's fluffy and all creamed together. It's best to whisk it together for about 2 to 3 minutes. Just give it that a bit longer just to get some air in there. So I'm just going to whisk this together. What I'd suggest is actually cream that together a little bit with a spoon first, just so, as you notice, my butter's flying everywhere a little bit. So I'm just going to give this a bit of a cream together first, because I don't want to lose half my ingredients all over the worktop. Okay. So when it's blended into that stage, you can get the whisk on it again now. That's better. Okay, so when it gets to that stage, we're just going to add in a grated zest of a lemon. So just, if you can have a fine grater, that would be the best, rather than a thick one. So you just want finely grated zest of a lemon. Okay, so what I would suggest is, if your butter, like mine was a little bit hard, just mix it with a spoon first before you put a mixture on, because it just prevents it flying all over the kitchen then. So I'd forgotten I'd done that last time when I'd made it. So for a lot of recipes, I do tend to use Lurpak spreadable butter when I make cakes. Like when I just do a sandwich cake and things like that, I use that, and I can use it straight from the fridge, and it's handier really. But this recipe did call for standard butter, and I wanted to make it as near to the original recipe as possible, which I have, except for the gluten-free flour. It is the same as the original recipe, but this cake's been a huge hit with Neil, so he'll be delighted that he'll have another one when he comes home from work today. Okay, so, and that lemon we're going to halve afterwards and juice that, because that's going to go on the topping of the cake. Okay, I keep thinking that my angle's not that great there. There we are. Okay, my lemon's just fallen on the floor. Need to give that a wash. Okay, doing well today. So to the bowl, I'm just going to add 2 large eggs that are room temperature. I broke them before just to make sure they were okay. And then I'm just going to whisk this together. Just going to scrape down the side of the bowl. And then when it gets to that stage, then just going to add in the dry ingredients. Okay, so just going to add in a pinch of salt, some ground almonds, and then I'm going to sift in the flour. So to the flour, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and then half a teaspoon of xanthan gum. I don't normally add xanthan gum to sponge cakes, but the gluten-free, say the flour I'm using today, doesn't have xanthan gum in it, so that's why I've added it there, because with it being a cake, it does need that just to hold it together. And then just sift that through. And then to this, I'm going to add some natural yogurt. Okay, and then rather than just get a large spoon, rather than whisking that again, we're just going to stir this all in the mixture. So just fold that in then. And once it's just mixed in, rather than over mixing it, once it gets to this stage now, that's it done, and it's ready to put in the tin. So I've just prepared a £2 loaf tin. I've just greased and lined that. I've just lightly added butter to that. So I'm just going to pop this into the tin, grab another spoon, and then what we're going to do with this, going to add raspberries also to this now. So I'm just going to put, so we're going to build it up really in about 3 layers. Okay. Okay, and then we're just going to put a few raspberries over. So we're going to sort of spread the raspberries, split them into thirds. So third of the raspberries now, and then another layer of sponge, and then more raspberries, and then we're going to finish on the top with raspberries. Okay, so just going to add some more sponge mixture over this now. A bit more there. Just cover them raspberries up. Just scatter over a few more raspberries, sort of, I suppose, put them where you can see there weren't any on the ones underneath, just to give it a nice even thing when you cut through. Okay, and I'm just leaving these ones to go then on the top. And then we're just going to press the last few raspberries into the mixture. There we go. Just going to pop these in now. What I'd say as well, if you put them sort of the whole side down, because I found a couple of them caught on the edges. So if you do them like that, it prevents that happening. There we go, and then we're going to bake this now at 160. I'm going to move that one along, we're being pedantic. So if you bake that now at 160, I'm going to bake it for 45 minutes like that, and then after 45 minutes I'm just going to loosely cover the top with foil and then bake it for a further 20 minutes then, and I'll show you then what it looks like when it's baked. Okay, so I've just grabbed the cake out of the oven now. So that's what it looks like. I'm just going to quickly test it with a skewer. That's when I said about loosely covering it with foil after 45 minutes and then baking it for a further 20 minutes. That's all you have to do, just slide the foil over the top whilst the cake's in the oven. I'm pretty confident it'll be done, but that's come out nice and clean, so that's spot on. So we're just going to leave this now for 5 minutes, well, about 3 to 5 minutes in the tin. And then just going to get on and make some lemon drizzle just to pour over the top. So I'm just going to, the lemon that I used the zest for before, I'm just going to juice that now. I did give it a wash after it rolling all over the floor. Okay, so just to juice that. Okie doke. Because you get the little tiny pips in it, there's only, I mean, it doesn't look too bad that actually, but I am just gonna pop that through a sieve. And then in this bowl, I've got 100 grams of granulated sugar, and I'm just gonna put the lemon into that. Okay, there weren't actually any pips in there at all this time. There's usually a few, but just to be on the safe side. Okay. So I'm just going to stir that now together, and then that's just all ready just to pour over the cake when it's done, or when it's just cooled enough. So I'm just going to give it a say about 3 minutes, and then I'm going to pour that over the top. So there we go, I've left the cake to cool for about 3 minutes. Doesn't have to be exact, but 3 to 5 minutes, absolutely fine. And then I'm just going to spoon over the lemon drizzle. You probably find that sometimes it pools around the edges as well, so I like to sort of get my spoon in and scoop that back up again, and pour that over. My raspberries are looking better this time than last time, as I say, because a few I've left sort of rim side up and they did catch a little bit. So you get the drizzle like nicely even over, so everyone gets a fair share when they get a slice of the cake. It really is such a lovely cake, this one. Okay, so just gently spoon that over. You don't have to do this, but I just think it gives it an extra coating. Just allows it to soak in a little bit more. A bit that hasn't got any on. There we go. And then I'm just going to leave this now for a further 5 minutes, just so the drizzle can all soak in. And then we're going to, at that point then, just remove it from the tin and sprinkle over some caster sugar. So I'll leave that now just for the 5 minutes. Righty-ho, so I've just left that for 5 minutes. So the drizzle's all soaked in and you've got that bits around the side. So I'm just going to now lift this out of the, gently lift it out of the tin. Okay, and then just pull down the sides there. And then I'm just going to sprinkle over some more granulated sugar. It just gives it a lovely crisp top. It's just a lovely finish to it. So just sprinkle over some sugar. There we are. And that's it. So I hope that's shown how easy it is to pop together. So the full recipe is over on the blog. What I'd say with that is try and resist cutting into that until it's completely cold, because it'll just hold together far better when it's completely cold. So yeah, that's the raspberry, lemon and yoghurt tea loaf. And of course, that's completely gluten-free. Okay, so thank you so much as always for watching my video. If you liked it, then please do give me a thumbs up. And if you've not already subscribed to my channel, I would love you to do that. Look forward to being back again really soon to share another video with you. But in the meantime, take care and bye for now.